You think it's me.
All right.
That's it.
We are recording. I'm told to avoid legal snags. Tell you that I'm recording you. Welcome to the Fantasy Trail. This is season 4, episode 1.5 of this Fantasy Trail.
I'm not sure you have my consent.
Hard to believe we've been doing this.
My consent.
Go ahead, Tomorrow.
I'm kind of new to Skype, and I have some really good ideas here.
Yeah, so this is a little bit interesting. I don't quite know what everyone's seeing, but this is how it's going to go. We're just trying to figure out, since YouTube took away our ability to record from 3 separate places. I know a lot of people must use that feature.
And Tamal, I do have a question about this. Like, if we were to give them like a nominal fee, would they do that for us?
No.
It's just gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just gone. Like, it's not like you just give them a little bit of dough and they do it.
Yeah. Like, you can still do Hangouts. You can do Google Meet, but there's not a recording feature on there. There's some, go to meeting.
Okay, my bad. I was just wondering.
You can do it, but the option we would need, you'd have to pay for, and we don't make any money off this podcast, so I don't want to do that.
Speak for yourself.
So, JT, it was quite the crazy week. As you said, you think it's probably one of the highest scoring weeks ever, and definitely in the first week.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, but it was astounding to look at, on whatever Sunday night and have so many people, have so many guys left thanks to the 2 Monday night games, and then to see the scores just continue to skyrocket. When I thought I was going to have a chance at the top score, and I got beat by 4 people, thinking I had maybe my all-time high score, and I still got beat by 4 people, was just a little eye-opening. It's fun.
Yeah.
What was it, though? Why were they so high? What do you think?
I think defense. It takes a little while for the defenses to catch up to the offenses.
I thought maybe it was the change of the safety points, but could just be me.
Well, you know what? I could also say it was. Could it be just the fact that maybe like a couple of these teams, let's say Miami particularly, maybe one team's going in the tank and you're able to accumulate some more points that way, maybe?
Sure.
Maybe. But, I mean, take a look at
I know it's just one team.
Tennessee, though. I mean, that was a crazy score within itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looked like a crazy one. And on the group chat, I was throwing a little shade on Brian there.
He threw the shade on himself.
All right. So
he did it to himself.
So you want to run down maybe our new format, what we're thinking here to try and keep it a little more brief?
All right. Well, we may only be going to every other week. We're not quite sure exactly, just due to time commitments. We're just going to go through the recap, and then we're going to go through rankings. I'm going to try and share that ranking sheet out with everyone, just so you guys can kind of have some input into what's going on.
And I would really like that, by the way, because I just like this idea that people used to text into the show when we were going live, and that was always something that I did think was a fun part of the show.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm bummed about that, but, I do at least hope we can make this into an audio, because I know a couple people that like to listen to that, and something I want to make sure.
Yeah, it's great right into work.
Well, yeah, and something I want to make sure of, Tamal, is I know sometimes we forget this, and I do too, but Jake is not in that group chat. So every once in a while, we're talking about something, and then like last night, I got a text from him. He's like, "What happened to Fantasy Trail, man?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, we
I have a question. Is he ever going to get an iPhone or what?
I don't think so. I think he's an Android man.
But you know what?
Okay.
I think maybe if we don't want to do it every week, maybe bring some other guests in, and maybe just have one of us run the trail with them, just try and get some other inputs. That was always fun.
Yeah, I mean, Skype
absolutely awesome. Just if anyone wants to, I'm sure you could get one of us to step down for a week, including
I'll
myself.
volunteer Scarano spot any day.
Yeah. And actually, I'm
I would
thinking
have played after this week.
with Skype, it might actually work better with mobile.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Like that time we cut Jake without his pants.
I'm surprised it didn't get censored by YouTube.
Yeah, right. We did not have consent for that.
All right. And just so we know, we are recording this. However, I'm not quite sure where it's being recorded to. So I'm really hoping I can find it once we're all done.
That's a fantastic statement.
Somehow you're good with stuff like this, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go into the recap.
Where do you want to start?
Let's start with the high score of the week. Brian puts up a 198. And to Colin, who put up a 158.
What a devastating loss.
Yeah.
Oh, it's incredible. But now, just to clarify, both those votes were for the non-progressive scoring system.
Yeah, I mean,
those no votes. Just to clarify.
Yeah. Well, I think both those teams are looking great for the foreseeable future. They both loaded up on some solid looking backs. You know, Cook looked great again. Jacobs was stud. Montgomery didn't do much of anything, but there's a lot of promise there for Brian. And then Collins got, of course, Saquon, Chubb, who didn't score. That was weird. But then Carson looked fantastic. They each have three backs that look really good. That's a rare.
Their running backs all look great. And I mean, you see like Landry is on his bench. He looks good. He has Wentz. And I will say this. I was listening to Greg Cosell today on a podcast, and they said this about Lamar Jackson. They said he had a great game, undeniable. But they said that those receivers, he said, and he's analyzed film for over 30 years, and he said those receivers were more open than any receivers I've seen in the NFL in quite some time. Miami's that bad.
Well, yeah.
Go on.
No, you're absolutely right.
He said a lot of times there was people playing 10 yards off these guys.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm either one of these teams, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling better. If
I'm feeling real good.
I like the win, but
I think he has some choice between Wentz as well.
But you think Brian holds on to Wentz all year? Or you think he tries to make a trade for?
I think that if you have a running quarterback like Lamar Jackson, you keep a healthy backup that's that good.
That sounds very reasonable.
Really beat up at some spot and needs some help. I mean, because he's got depth. You know, nobody's hurt at this point, so I think you hang on to it as long as you possibly can.
Would you play Deshaun Jackson?
Yeah.
If you're Brian.
You think about last year.
Next week against the Cardinals, absolutely.
4 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks last year, and then he never caught one again.
Yeah.
But Lamar Jackson, I thought
But honestly, when's the best quarterback he's ever played with? Outside of maybe McNabb?
I was going to say, depends how many times he's been in Philly. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I would take Lamar Jackson playing at home against the Cardinals defense. I mean, I thought that Murray looked good, but I don't think their defense did.
All right.
Well, it was an interesting matchup. I think Colin will be fine. I still had him ranked pretty high, as we'll see. I like his squad. Tough to take an L. What's next, Tamal?
Moving on to the second high score of the week, Rachel with a 175.1 against Scarano with the 120.9. And let me say, the only reason that Rachel won was because of a Cowboy quarterback.
Only reason seems like a stretch when you look at Sammy Watkins.
I
understand your point. The Sammy Watkins has to be the biggest surprise of the week. You asked me earlier, Tamala, what was the biggest surprise? I mean, Sammy's obviously talented, but he's been up and down, to say the least, in his career, oft injured, and that was ridiculous. A 47.
Yeah, it was Tyreek Hill going out.
It was, but I mean, come on. You would not have even blamed Rachel if she had perhaps sat him in the week one.
No.
Look, I mean, she played him in a flex. She didn't think that he was that great.
But, if she had Gordon, he might not have played. I mean, who knows? I could be completely wrong there, but it's at least not out of the realm of possibility. And that guy just exploded.
Yeah. And you know what? If Gordon ever decides to actually show up, she's going to be in good position.
Yeah, that's a big if.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a
that's
strange
risk she took.
situation with him.
It's a huge risk. If
I
she
just
gets
can't
him,
believe in Josh Gordon.
I think she really needs him though, because her running backs are questionable.
Yes.
You know? But that's
Yes,
what happens.
even though I do think Singletary had a great game, maybe the next Maurice Jones-Drew.
Yeah. What about you, Scarano? I can't be happy with Mixon.
Well, there's a couple big problems. Diggs was hurt. I still played him anyway. I was debating on yanking him and putting Gallup in, and that would have raised my score a little bit. Also, Mixon got hurt, so it is kind of the injury striking me again.
But you know what? You do have you have Bernard, so you got to be feeling good about that. Because whenever Mixon's been out,
yeah, I got the handcuff on that one. I also have Henry, who could go into that spot at any point.
Henry looks great.
I wasn't really that hot on Russell Wilson's game, but really bad. The Steelers disappointed me. And Mixon going out hurt was it's tough when your guy goes out in the first quarter.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about Gallup? Are you going to get him in your lineup?
Listen, I told Casey to send me a trade, and I know I'm going, taking advantage of his homerism. Listen, I think it's there. I'm debating on who I'm going to play. There's a couple guys. I have a little situation where I'm.
Did you play DJ
I don't know.
tonight?
What's that?
Did you play DJ Moore tonight?
I did play DJ Moore tonight. I think he's one that I'll continue to play. He had a lot of receptions last game. Williams is probably going to get the Knicks, and I think Hawkinson, and I might be playing 2 tight ends, which is strange for me because I usually not a position I really draft high. If anyone wants to send me a trade for either of those tight ends, I'm willing to listen to anything that anyone has to say.
You're preaching my world right there. We'll talk about why in a little bit, but I might hit you up.
I have 2 legitimate starters right now.
I may be hitting you up. We'll talk.
I know Hawkinson might be early, but I mean, he looked really good.
Okay. All right. You're not super worried, even though you had one of the lowest scores of the week then.
I'm not. I'm trying not to be stressed right now. There was some disappointing time here.
Trolling you.
I just expected more from certain guys.
Just trolling you.
Yep.
All right. Rachel looking strong. Scarano looking weak.
Yep.
All right. The third highest score of the week going to Angela.
Angela.
And that started out a little weird with the quarterback situation on Thursday night.
Oh my, you're not kidding. I didn't know what to do. I was really legitimately confused as to whether or not she was asking me to switch. And I never got clarification. But I do believe a hurricane is a legit. I need help.
But either way, it would not have mattered.
Right.
In the game.
She has satellite internet though. She has satellite internet. So you legitimately could say the hurricane is preventing her from doing the internet.
I thought she got rid of her satellite. I think it's just her phone.
Maybe that is very possible. I'm not that up to date on it. Here's what I would say. I just can't picture too many weeks where you would legitimately start Trubisky over Rodgers. I'm sorry. I don't care who they're playing. I think Aaron Rodgers, even though I know he isn't what he used to be per se, fantasy-wise, I think he's an every week start.
No, but Scarano, a lot of people had him rated higher last week in ranks just based on the Bears' defense.
In the end, though,
yeah, I guess, but I don't buy into Mitch Trubisky. I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid.
I'm just glad. I'm glad it didn't play a role. I would have really hated to see that come down to some sort of weird controversy.
But look at Sony Michel, who I'm gonna say this is gonna be his lowest score all year with a 1.4. Marvin Jones, who had a wonderful matchup against Arizona, extra quarter play, only put up a 10. I think this score could have been a whole lot higher. And Vinatieri, who missed.
Oh, if Rodgers had a better game, sure.
Yeah. I mean, all understandable, but 43 from McCaffrey is a pretty nice little boost.
Yeah, so then you're saying that ultimately balances it.
And, John Brown for 25 seems
several scores, not exactly that high. At least 1 or 2 weeks that high, though, and several in the 30s last year.
Understood, but
San Francisco defense sure helped.
Yeah, absolutely.
2 pick sixes.
John Brown, 25.
John Brown, 25.
That's more points than he had, his first year and 2 years in Arizona.
I will tell you though that Angela's bench is deeper than I can remember in a long time. There's some legit choices she's going to have to make, and especially after the performance of some of her guys last week.
Well, I think she got really helped by a couple trades. I mean, she was probably helped more by trades than anyone else.
And still,
I think Corey's going to see some action.
But I still don't buy Hilton for the year. I don't, and maybe that's me. I don't trust that Colts offense.
I think they got a good team. I think Brissett's not bad.
I mean, Mac had a wonderful game.
Plus, quarterback university.
I don't trust him.
On the other side, I think Joel has had the worst luck of anyone I think I've ever seen to start a fantasy season.
Yeah, Angela had the best luck going into the season with stuff helping her team. Joel probably the worst.
No pun intended, but my gosh, it was just a rough start. Now, I think she was taking that risk with Antonio Brown. I don't know if anybody thought the risk was going to be this extreme. It's been such a roller coaster of emotion to be an owner of that one. I don't know.
I did hear some good news today about him, believe it or not. I heard that because the allegation is only being pursued civilly and there's no criminal pursuit on it, that like the inside track in the NFL says they're not planning on doing a suspension until they hear more.
Yeah, but
because anyone could sue anyone.
That's so dirty. That's such an awful thing.
But I also heard Pittsburgh PD was opening up an investigation.
That could change it, but I heard like as of now the NFL saying like you can't just go off of every single civil lawsuit that we ever get and just pursue it. And I do understand that.
Absolutely.
Pittsburgh PD doing whatever they can to make up for the 33-3 loss.
But is she going to play him this week?
When I talked to her, because we're playing each other this week, I just asked, I said, are you playing anybody tonight? She said, all I looked at was Barber, and I decided against it. I haven't looked at my lineup for the rest of the week. So what you see right now that she has going is only based on not playing Barber, which I think is probably a good call. And she hasn't decided on the rest she wants to go. But she does have 2 breakout rookie wide receivers on her bench and Antonio Brown. So I don't think she has a bad team. I do think she caught some bad luck, but
I think a lot of it's going to be hit or miss.
Well, we don't know for sure yet on either one of those guys. They could be nothing after this week. You're right, but I don't know.
For a terrible week,
I
put up a decent score. And Allen Robinson looked amazing.
He looked very good. And Zeke's going to have a much better week than 13 most weeks. He's still easing back in. That's a tough one.
And she probably still has the best defense in the league. Yeah.
So let's say you take out Barber, you put in Antonio Brown, you take out Paul Richardson, you put in Marquise Brown. You even think about taking out Carry-On and putting in Chalk if you want, or Chark. I could see her looking pretty formidable. I kind of hope she doesn't make those moves against me. Maybe next week would be better.
All right.
What do we got?
It will be interesting. All right, we're going to skip over the 4th highest team. That was you, JT. We'll save you for last.
Okay.
Next is actually Jake with a 150.9, beating Casey 134.3.
Look at Jake's top 2 guys and tell me how he put up a 150.
I mean, and Freeman did not look great at all.
You are right. Like you look at the score and you're like, how did he wait a second? Like you almost like start adding.
Yeah. You know what?
So you add.
But
sorry, I'm like, hold on here.
I mean, Jake's game had a lot to do, just like yours had to do with that 4th quarter in the Arizona game.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Big numbers. But what?
And we couldn't forget that he did have a lot left over with Gordon and Michael Thomas, and the Saints D. So his score looked a lot lower, and he had Darren Waller. So he had 4 guys after the Sunday game still going, and Casey had Keys, and White, but it wasn't quite as much.
I do think Jake does, and I'm sorry to say this, like that quarterback situation, I think right there is And I'm sorry. I know everyone's thinking, oh, man, they bounced back huge this week. And I'm sorry to say, Brian, Rachel, everybody, I'm not buying into that one. Not
I think
after all those picks.
I'd buy into it as a fantasy player. Maybe not as a long term, but he might be regretting only having one quarterback. I will.
I bet you
that's exactly what I mean.
What'd you say, Tomo?
I bet you they wish they traded for Tunsil. That would have made all the difference with that team. He had no
One of the problems was this the OBJ trade. They traded their second best offensive lineman, and everyone started clapping. And I'm sorry, it wasn't a good move for a team who has a bad offensive line.
Oh yeah, and then it got hurt, and then that guy got kicked out, and it was what a disaster.
Yeah, but
that's what I mean.
Mac had a huge game, and like I said earlier, I don't trust him, but I mean he put up a huge game. Michael Thomas, not the Michael Thomas,
the other,
solid as always. I mean he has a lot of room to grow, and Waller very well could be the steal of the draft.
Yeah. I'm watching Hard Knocks. Yep. You just never want to trust those guys, but it turns out he actually is good.
Well, it's Gruden.
It looks like
he just loves being a tight end.
He made a couple moves, and he does have that lurking AJ Green thing too, which is interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
How about Casey though? That's some tough hit with the Tyreek Hill. I don't think that made the difference, but it you know what? I actually can't say that. Could he have gotten 16 more points?
Yeah.
You know what? I think he could have.
Well, even with James Conner, I mean, that was a terrible game for him.
Dismal.
Yeah, Pittsburgh killed him.
Pittsburgh killed him. By the way, it hurt me as well.
Yeah, and a couple moves on his bench. If he put in Crowder instead of Drake, he would have won. Not that everybody was going to make that call, but could have.
I mean, he had another one. I think we're saying there's a lot of room to grow with a lot of these scores.
Yes,
there is. I think he will be hopefully dropping Jameis fairly soon.
We will see.
Is that game starting up again tomorrow?
Starting up, JT.
What, buddy?
Start it up, man.
Okay, we're back.
Jameis is actually moving the ball.
All right. Next up, we have Michael Thomas, taking on Team Carter. And Michael put up a 139, which is normally a very high score, but one of the lower scores this week. And Rich only put up a 117.
Michael's got to feel lucky. Even though that score's really good, he would have only beat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams. So he actually would have lost to more teams than he would have beat.
Eckler came through huge for him here. I would be a little bit concerned about his first 2 picks because I know he was real hot on him. It's like I got Gurley and Jones, and those could be the both number one at their position. And I hate to say, I think one got their money but was long in the tooth and kind of paid for performance, and I think one has a bad knee.
Well, and he put up the double goose egg, which you never expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that. And then Rich almost matched him with a double goose egg
too.
Yeah.
Well, but
you know what's funny though? He voted to get rid of kicker defense. By the way, just so you know.
Wait, I didn't realize this. Rich had Cootie in his lineup, and he was announced out a couple days before the game, I believe.
Oh, I don't know.
Is that charity?
Oh my!
No, that's not what it got settled on.
What did it get settled on?
It's a monetary donation the first time, and then we kind of move on from there.
Okay.
We have escalating fines and eventual punishments that potentially come along. I don't know for sure, but I'll read it right now. First violation is $10. Second violation is potential removal from the league.
So it dropped off pretty quick, JT.
What's that?
That dropped off pretty quick right there. You said it escalates. That's a pretty big.
We've had some concerns with this.
So,
listen, right? Let's say that he puts in a guy that he takes a flyer on, that he picks up because he has an empty bench spot, and he gets a guy that gets 20 points. Suddenly he maybe wins.
Sure.
I'm trying to think.
John Ross probably could have put it in one.
I think his problem was he probably didn't have anyone, although he has an empty bench spot.
Yeah, there might not have been anybody out there because it was the Monday night game, but you would have thought there was somebody on the Raiders or somebody on the Broncos or somebody on the Saints.
Yeah. Well, Rich, if you're listening to this on Friday morning, hop onto the group chat and kind of explain.
Yeah, plead your case. If not, I'll text him. I'll tell him he's got to plead.
I will say, it makes it tough on a Monday night, and I almost think that, like, I'm not excusing it, but it definitely makes it tougher on a Monday night.
But when was it announced? I mean, that's my whole thing. When was it announced that he?
That's really the key, though.
Yeah, that I don't know for sure. If it's a kind of thing where, you got to go to bed because of work or something, that may change things. But I really think he could have won. I don't know. I'm gonna try and look that up now. Go ahead and continue talking.
But Rich Brady. Wow. He's with the weapons he has available to him. He might throw for 400 touchdowns this year. Kamara, Evans is up and down. That's kind of who you get when you get a Bucs player. But he'll have better days ahead.
All right.
Hey, listen, I heard an interesting stat today about one quarterback. Jameis Winston has lost 12 straight road games.
Yep.
It's been over a year.
Just so you know. Jamal, I did find it here. The game started at 7:30.
Okay.
It was announced an hour and a half before the game.
Okay.
So
I let it slide. Let that slide. We let it slide.
That's pretty tough for a Monday night, but that's certainly not impossible, especially with an early start. I'm up for whatever the league thinks on that, but that's not super.
Can we issue a formal warning?
6 o'clock. He's probably still at work, isn't he?
I'm not sure. It depends on the day. But an hour and a half before the game, it's a tight squeeze, but it's enough.
Can we issue a formal warning?
It's definitely
formal warning given from the league.
Formal warning. Okay. Well, all right, if you guys say so.
Either way, I'd like to hear Rich's opinion on what was happening. So
I agree. Let's put it to him. We'll talk about it maybe in the chat and see if we can get a little more info.
All right. Last matchup is JT and me, our annual first week matchup.
Oh, yes.
And JT, you absolutely destroyed me with a 160.9, and I put up the lowest score. The curse continues with a 105.
There have not been sweeter words than Matt Tamala saying,
"I put up the lowest score."
The curse continues.
Yeah.
You got some bad juju on you, man. You gotta do something about it.
I thought maybe leaning into the curse, with the name of my team.
Yeah.
But
listen, tomorrow's Friday the 13th. You know what you gotta do. You gotta go do something.
Camp Crystal Lake.
Tomorrow.
Have you gone camping there?
So I honestly was really worried about this, and like you said, until that fourth quarter of the Arizona game, those two guys had a combined maybe 6 points going into that, and ended up with 39. That's not the only thing that caused me to win, but it allowed me to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Oh, Jay, at the top of your lineup right here, you have over 75 points, man.
And, Bell showed up for me, and Williams showed up for me. And the rest of them, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, Williams was
Tamala. I don't know,
man. Late points, too.
Yeah, they were.
Chargers D was brutal.
Man,
Jones, brutal. And your bench wasn't much help.
No.
That was outside of Brown, which could be an interesting thing later, but your bench was almost non-existent.
Yeah.
No, and even like Geis had a lot of hype going on, man, and it just didn't seem to pan out for you, dude.
Geis got some news on that today, tomorrow.
But
Curse continues.
But you know what I will say? If for anyone looking for running backs, come talk to me. I got quite a few.
Geis is available.
Not even Geis. I would say any of my running backs are available. Even Bell.
Including Bell.
I'm glad
Okay.
Fuller didn't end up being needed on Monday night. He's the guy I'm in between. He looks like such a burner, interesting player, but he's a boomer bust.
He's disappointed me and kind of burned me in the past, so he's kind of on my list of guys who I think every beginning of every year I hear they're going to double team Hopkins. This Fuller's going to get all these looks, and it just doesn't seem to pan out.
Yeah, and Scarano, I lost Hunter Henry for 4-6 with the broken kneecap, so that's why I was saying I might need a tight end.
All right, Seth, let's get a trade going. I have the Njoku and Hawkinson, and I know that they're not proven, but we're only in week 1, so dude.
Yeah,
whatever, man.
It would definitely have to be something where it's a low stakes trade.
Now
Yes,
Thielen
sir.
had a decent game, not great.
Well, he caught a touchdown.
I have some
for the first drive,
concerns
and they
having
stopped throwing.
Diggs.
Yeah, are you nervous because they only threw he only had 10 completions?
They were up 28-0. Who cares?
All right.
I mean, I know Atlanta
I
came
know.
back.
It is a somewhat of a concern though, because it does get me that are they saying that Cousins isn't? Are they kind of treating him like Cam Newton?
I hear you, but I think I have enough receivers where I'll be okay. I'm more worried about.
I like Thielen over Diggs any day.
Yeah, I'm more worried about my tight end, and I don't have great depth.
Okay.
All right. So let's go on to rankings.
Let's see them.
Not great participation. Hopefully, maybe next week, especially if you don't like your rank. Number 12. Clearly, I come in number 12.
What?
Last place, lowest score of the week. I fall.
Kurse the kicker. Yeah, he's 12.
All right.
I didn't rank it 12.
Rich is coming in number 11. He had the second lowest score, so pretty chalk there so far. Next, coming in at 10 is Casey.
Ooh.
And I'm playing Casey this week, so that's going to be an interesting little matchup.
Yeah, 10-8 right now, by the way. You're winning.
Ooh. Moving on after Casey, 9th place is going to be Scarano.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm happy to even be there.
Burn, Cuzzy.
Listen, I think I have some potential, but I don't think I need to be any higher than 9.
Sounds like your report card.
Joel comes in at number 8.
Yeah, tough to argue. She's got to prove that some of those bench guys have a little more.
And now, the surprise, even though she put up the 3rd highest score, Angela comes in 7th, lower half of the league.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a.
She needs to show that she can manage the team and make the pickups and stuff like that. I think I kind of agree.
Yep, I think that's it. She's shown that she can do well when everybody stays healthy. She won the league 2 years ago with keeping people healthy. She's not a bad drafter. It's the management when something goes wrong. Sometimes that can be problematic.
All right. Next, we have the first of 2 ties. So these are actually 4th place or 5th place, and we have both Jake and the Michael Thomas coming in at 5th.
2 solid wins.
Okay.
Michael a little less solid, but still not bad.
Yeah.
Jake has Angela this week, so Angela's chance for redemption.
Rachel.
And I would also say that with Michael even coming in lower, he's always very, very good on the waiver wire and pickups and stuff. It's kind of the opposite effect of Angela.
Agreed.
Yeah. Coming in at 4th with another big surprise, Rachel. She had the 2nd highest score of the week.
No respect.
Yeah.
No respect.
I'm
sure we'll be hearing from her. I know she's a fan of the show.
Yeah, her bench is what's I ranked her a little lower, and I think that was part of the reason. I just don't trust her bench. She's got Coleman and Gordon, both of whom are out, and nobody else on there is going to be playing other than maybe a QB, and that just doesn't seem to bode well.
All right. No, next we had another tie, so no 3rd, and we go on to 2nd place with a tie between UJT and Colin.
Highest ever ranking I think I've had.
As says
There you
the
go,
man
JT.
who won the league.
It'll be out the window next week.
And of course, number one,
always not
with the high score of the week is Brian.
So Colin's number 2, even with a loss.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not deserved, but it's interesting.
Well, what I find interesting is if he was willing to maybe change his vote, he would have had a point this week.
Yeah, we're just gonna beat that one. And
I'm keeping it going. I'm keeping it going.
Yep, the flyer.
All right. So that's all we have this year. We're not going to do previews. We're trying to keep this a little bit shorter. So we'll see how that goes. Let us know. Leave us some feedback. Hey, if you want to leave us a review on iTunes, all the better. Feel like a real podcast,
please.
Anything else, you guys? Scarano, you have a hot take you want to share with us?
Just a quick hot take here, guys, and I'd like to hear from you when we're done here. But I'm always known for a little bit of theatrics. On Twitter this week, a certain player who plays for the Cleveland Browns said he has been called out and singled out because of the uniform violation of wearing, from what I understand, the prices range from $180,000 to $300,000 watch. And just to clarify how the NFL treats uniforms, Brian Urlacher was fined $100,000 for wearing the wrong hat. Alvin Kamara last year was fined for wearing the wrong socks. I bet you didn't notice. But then again, OBJ, when his team loses by over 25 points, when they're expected to win, perhaps one of the most hyped teams I've heard since your 2012 Eagles, he wants to wear a watch, and he's angry about wearing it when his team is losing like that. And to get him, they traded away their best offensive lineman. I hate to tell you what's going in my dog bowl today, but all of these wonderful watches. Curse of the Kicker continues. By the way, we have OBJ in the dog bowl. Take it away, guys.
Your wristwatches.
You have a lot of watches,
I have no idea
man.
where all these have come from. I have no idea. I wear like 2 or 3 of them, but I mean, I have like 7 or 8.
That's a lot.
But all I'm saying is, guys, is your team does go down like that. They're hyped up because of you, and your concern is about wearing a watch. Tells me a lot.
I think it's a fair criticism. I think they got bigger fish to fry.
All right, guys.
That's all I'm saying.
If you need you have a tight end you want to trade to JT, make him an offer. If you need a running back, make me an offer, and we'll talk to you soon.
It'd be fun to get some trades going, guys.
Have a good week.
All right,
Signing
guys.
off.
Good stuff.